What's up, core reporters, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for another recap of what went down on season 6 of Selling Sunset on Netflix. Listen, you guys, I have first thing in my notes that we need a drinking game for every time Heather mentions being pregnant, because oh my God, is it ever a lot? But I understand she must be so damn excited. Now, she, Amanda, and Mary are in the office talking about Brie being upset over the Nick Cannon situation and how, she was blindsided by Nick Cannon adding another child to his kind of situation there. And then Chelsea's the one who kind of recounted the story and whatnot. So they start acting like Chelsea is this rude person for pointing out the obvious, which is that this is not an ideal situation for the children of Nick Cannon. So now Heather, when she has a conversation with Brie TC herself, who is the baby mama in question, she brings up how Chelsea had, claimed that Nick Cannon might be some sort of master manipulator running game on these girls to get them to agree to join his harem. One thing about Heather is that she's messy, but she's going to be very innocent with it. She'll bring it up so innocently that you won't even realize that she is an S starter and an S disturber. So I got to give her props for that. She's not super aggressive with it, or you know what I mean? She does a really great job. Now, there was a scene between Chelsea and her husband when they're at the restaurant and stuff, talking about their kids and just some milestones in their lives. And I found it really cute. I do want to see more of these girls as personal lives outside of their dynamics with one another. I want to see them with their husbands or their partners. In some cases, I want to see their homes. Chrishell bought that gorgeous home last season, but we haven't really been able up until now, maybe in the later episodes, but we haven't really been able to see that much inside it. I want to see what that's like. I want to know where Nicole is living. I want to see what Brie's living like. You know what I mean? I would definitely love to see more of that. So that definitely was quite a treat. Now, remember, you guys, Mary's husband, Romain, it's so funny they call him Romain. Every time they say Romain, I'm like, yo, what's with the lettuce? And then I'm wondering, because, there's so many Romain here. And I'm like, do I pronounce his name correctly, or is that pretentious? You guys let me know in the comment section. Do I say Romain or do I say Romain? So her husband, Romain, has been working in project management, of construction and stuff like that for Jason's apartment. And Mary is the overall project manager of all of that. So Mary goes over to one of the sites that he's working on, and they kind of discuss what that's going like. It seems like they're a little bit behind schedule, but they're not freaking out just yet. Now, here's a doozy that happens a little bit later. So in one of the earlier episodes, I think it's even as early back as episode 2, or episode 1, there was some beef at Chelsea's Brokers Open, and it was because of Chelsea herself. One of the beefs, there were 2. So one of them was Chelsea trying to ambush Brie with 2 of her enemies, her arch nemesis. And I'm saying it that way because one of my viewers was like, Grace, they're not her enemies. So I'm like, let me be dramatic, damn it. So that was one of the beefs. And then the other beef was that Nicole, she's got this 3-year-old grudge against Chrishell, or maybe it's a 5-year grudge, about them co-listing a property. And she didn't like that Chrishell's name was on it, even though Chrishell didn't even try to take the commission from her. So Chelsea decides to confront Nicole about her drama with Chrishell at her Brokers Open. She didn't like that there were profanities being around or drama in front of her clients and whatnot. And I'm like, Chelsea, that's really rich, because you were kicking up some dust yourself at your own opening. So don't act like you wanted it to be super professional or whatever, right? And so she asked, well, what did Mary do to diffuse the situation? And so Nicole's like, well, she did nothing, and poor Mary, she's just not the confrontational type. I don't think she's got that skill set that is necessary for being a manager. But we can't be perfect, right? And so Chelsea at this point, she's pissed. She's like, how is this girl supposed to be the manager, wrangling everybody, and she can't even get this simple event under control? Her one opportunity to step up, and she runs away from the situation. So at this point, Chelsea's like, well, if she can't handle being a manager, I'll be a manager. How about that? And I'm like, I love the ambition, Chelsea, but you only just got here last year, and you've only sold 1 house in your entire 10 years so far that we've seen on the show. So let's kind of crawl before we walk. So by the way, her outfit to the office the next day was so inappropriate. She had her bolt-ons like this. But, and I don't want to be rude, but all these girls, or 90% of these girls, I can't even name them all, but let me pull up a picture. Okay, in this image, let me say this. What what's her name? The one who can't sell that big mansion, Davina. Which I think she and Chelsea got like their boob jobs, their most recent ones, just before the reunion last season. Because when they popped up to that reunion, they were looking like huge and high up, like they hadn't settled yet. Emma's boobs are a lot too. Like they have like full blown bolt-ons, rocks, or whatever. So Chelsea pops up with her bolt-ons and her whole stomach out. And I'm like, God, the way these people dress is so fascinating to me. It's not even like to me, like this is a chic, cute outfit. Like that to me was just like trashy, to be honest with you. But I digress. And she was talking about like showing her clients around looking like that. I was like, oh my God, that is so funny. So now it turns out that Brie and Emma, the Empanada Emma, both have clients who are interested in this gorgeous mansion that's pretty much all black and gold. We didn't get to see Emma showing it around to her clients, but we did see Brie showing it around to the wife of this really big boxer. So I wonder who's ultimately gonna win when it comes to the battle for the home. Now, Chelsea at this point, she's got this property that she's listed and she underpriced it strategically so that people can kind of like start a bidding war over it. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Someone submitted an offer that was even lower than like the kind of lower price range that she listed it up at. And so she doesn't want to let it go for that price. And she talks to the owner of the property about her strategy. And she's like, don't worry, we're not just going to offload it at this price. Like we can wait for the right customer and everything. And she also offers the possibility of just leasing the home for $50,000. And Mary, she's listening in on this deal and she's like, that sounds low, $50,000 per month for a mansion of this like square footage of this price range that's going to be listed. Like, are you sure that you crunched the numbers correctly? It sounds low. And she keeps on saying it. And Chelsea, the more that Mary says it, the more she gets irritated and defensive. And so she's like, Mary, I didn't pull this number out of thin air. Like, I ran the numbers, which at the end of the day, listen, Chelsea's got this economics degree. So numbers definitely are her forte. And of course, she is a real estate agent. So I can see why she was defensive about that. And she already thinks that Mary is not fit to be a manager. So here's when she gets a little bit funny. She's like, I'm not going to be critiqued about my listing from someone who's not even fit to be a manager. As soon as she said that, I was like, Chelsea, oh my God, that's gonna pop back up at the reunion. You will have to answer for that. I know Mary's gonna be upset about that comment, but I love it for like the drama that it causes on the show. And so at this point, Chelsea also decides to pull Mary to the side to talk about how she did not take care of business at her broker's opening, and it was so funny because it's in these couches. So the couches that you see Chriselle at, right? And you see the desk right behind it. It's a very open concept office. So if you're sitting on that couch having a conversation, everyone's going to hear it. So it's like Chelsea wanted everyone to hear that she was disappointed about the drama at her open, which again is hypocritical because Chelsea, she started her own drama with Brie at that very same opening, but I digress. So she goes, Mary, like there was beef between Chriselle and Nicole. You as a manager, you should have handled it. Like you embarrassed me in front of my clients, blah, 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 And Mary basically is like, listen, we're all adults. I expect everyone to be able to behave like adults. So I was taken aback, just like you were taken aback, blah, blah, blah. And so she doesn't really take full accountability for not diffusing the situation. You know what I mean? And I did think that was disappointing on Mary's end. I do believe she could have handled it better, but that's the thing about Mary. Mary doesn't really like, she gets really like defensive as well when you try to point something out to her. She's not really like the apologizing type so far from what I've seen. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can definitely feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, she just seems like she's gonna like, she feels backed into a corner. She's going to talk about why she wasn't able to do something versus making a plan for how she will be able to correctly handle something in the future. And Chelsea, I feel like she felt that way. Like, okay, girl, like tell me how you're going to handle it in the future because you do need to do better if you want to stay as a manager. Otherwise, I am coming for your job. But yeah, I wonder how that's going to play out as the season progresses. Guys, how did you feel about this episode? It really feels like Chelsea, despite this only being her second season, is really trying to take the season over. And so far, she's doing a great job. I know I've said that Brie was the perfect addition and that she is really bringing it. but I think that they balance each other out. The beef that Chelsea has with Brie, in addition to her trying to kind of come for Mary's spot or her crown as Jason's leading lady and the manager of the office, I think that makes for a really juicy, well-rounded storyline. And so I am looking forward to seeing how this continues to progress. Now, what were your thoughts? Pardon. What were your thoughts of Selling Sunset Season 6, Episode 5? Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.